Welcome to Problem Set 3.3. Go over some of the problems on page 189 and hopefully get you started pretty quickly and easily on that. I'm going to skip 1 through 22. Those are pretty self-explanatory. And I'm just going to jump up, well, doggone, let's jump up page 190 to number 34. Give us AB squared. And they put that, change my markers here, over C. And they multiply that times C squared over A squared B. Alright, so if you remember when we were working on these earlier, we would write these out in expanded form. A times B over C times C for A times B, and we just start dividing out A and A, B and B, C and C, and we have BC over A there. Okay, let me do one more similar to this because there's well, not much of a shortcut, but a little tiny shortcut you might as well at least use. So we'll just put that on here. It'll save you a few seconds of time anyway. You know, before when I was expanding these, I was saying A times B. Well, let's not do it that way. I mean, you can if you want, but just do A, B over C. Okay, you don't have to put the little dot there to show multiplication. We know they're multiplied if they're side by side. C over A, B. Okay. Doesn't save you a whole lot of time, but it is quicker. So then you can start canceling, or I'm sorry, dividing is actually what you're doing here. And you end up like that. So now we have A, C over B. And then if we're going to write that correctly, we're going to bring our C's together and put a 2 up there for the squared or for the exponent. And there's our final answer there. So let's move on down to 35 to 40. You should be fine with that. Just remember to take your whole number, 36, for instance, 1/4 times 4x over 1, so that you multiply the 4 times the 1. We go to the one like, well, let's do 47. It says -2/3, and what are they doing to that? They're cubing it. So we're gonna have to expand it. Times -2/3 times -2/3. Notice we carried our negative. The negative is inside the parentheses with the number, so it's attached to it, so it has to go along with it. Alright, so let's multiply. -2 times -2, negative times a negative, gives us a +4. Now we're going to take that +4 and multiply it times -2. A positive times a negative is a negative, so we get -8. Do the same thing down here. We already did our negatives. If we did our negatives on the top, we're done with them. Now we can just use our 3 times 3 times 3 and get 27. So we have -8 over 27. So a good thing to remember, if you're using your negatives here, and here on the top with the numerators, then you've used your negatives and you don't have to worry about them anymore. If you don't want to use them on the top, if you want to be 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8 and make this a positive, that works. No problem. But now your negatives have to be on the bottom. So now you've got -3 times -3, which is +9 times -3, which is -27. And it doesn't matter where that negative goes, on the bottom or on the top, it's the same answer. Okay? So it doesn't matter if that negative goes on the top or the bottom. So, good thing to remember, as long as you use that negative 3 times, it doesn't matter if you used them on the top or on the bottom. In fact, it doesn't even matter if you intersperse them, a couple on top, couple on the bottom. Doesn't matter, as long as you used them 3 times. Okay, let's look at 59. That one looks a little hairy here. So 3 times 5 over 6a plus 4 over 9. All right. We can't combine anything in there simply because we have a letter here and we ain't got a letter here. So you can't combine anything there. So all we can do is work on our distribution of our 3 across here. So let's do our distribution of that 3. And if it helps, put a 1 under there so that you take 3 times 5 and get 15. And 1 times 6 and get 6. Well, and our A just kind of tags along. Now that A, you can put it up here with the 15. If you don't want it up there, you can put it to the side there. Like I have it right there, and like the book has it. Doesn't matter where you put it. I would prefer having it on top, just so I know where it's at and I know that it is a numerator. Okay? So it just keeps things safe, keeps you from messing things up. So if you see it beside the fraction and it's not either on the top or on the bottom, just move it to the top. And we're going to multiply 3 times the 4 over 9. So 3 over 1, so 3 times 4 is 12. And 1 times 9 is 9. Alright, so at this point, it appears to be done. We did our distribution and we got an answer. The question is, are we reduced here? Well, we're going to have to look at our 15 over 6, and that's 3 times 5, and our 6 is 3 times 2. We can divide those out. So actually 15 over 6 is the same as 5 halves. And we'll just drag that A along with us. If there's no other variable in here for us to even do anything with that A, it just hangs on for dear life. That's all it does. Alright, so our 12 over 9, we're going to do 2 times 3 over 3 times 3. Divide those out, leaves us with 2 times 2 is 4 over 3. And that is our final answer. Our 4/3 is reduced, and our 5 halves is reduced. So we're good to go there. So that's it for problem set 3.3. So enjoy yourself with that, and be prepared for 3.4.